Okay, I hear we're ready. I see people have drinks. Fantastic. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Ontario Association of Architects and the 2022 Council, I want to thank you for joining us today in our very first hybrid version of the OAA Annual General Meeting, AGM. I'm so excited to see your faces here in person and be part of this event that we have made so much more accessible through live stream. There's probably thousands of people streaming live to this exciting show. And on that note, I want to extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us virtually from your offices, homes, or wherever you are. The past several years have been difficult for many, and so it is a pleasure to welcome you to this meeting. As most of you know, my name is Susan Spiegel, and I'm honored to be the OAA president for my second term in 2022. I hope that when you first joined us online or entered this room, you were able to take a moment. They're gone. They were there, all the newly licensed members. Again, I asked for a count today so we could be precise, and I want you to know there's 218 new architects and 8 licensed technologists OAA for a total of 226 scrolling across the screens previously. And again, I want to say we're so very proud of these individuals receiving their licenses, and we can all appreciate again the hard work and dedication that goes into reaching this milestone. So we're going to have another clap just to be very congratulatory for all our new licensees. So I'd like to take a moment now to honor the land on which we are all standing and building. For millennial, the place that we call Ontario has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples and nations who have been the stewards of the land. Today, we are all gathered in the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, as well as the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat. And we honor the rich culture and natural landscape our buildings and spaces are a part of, and the connection to the land Indigenous peoples have valued since time immemorial. We are grateful for Indigenous knowledge that guides us, and we commit to build in harmony with the land and creating sustainable spaces for generations to come. We would like to invite you to take a moment of reflection to acknowledge our shared responsibility to past and present injustices and to provide space for Indigenous knowledge and worldviews to shape the architectural landscape called Turtle Island. So before we move to the business of our meeting today, I would like to ask our Executive Director, Christy Doyle, to take a few moments to introduce the members of 2022 Council.
Thank you, Susan. And like you, I am so very pleased to be here this afternoon with members both in person and virtually. And it is with great pleasure that I will introduce our 2022 OAA Council to you. First, I'd like to introduce Farida Abubakari. Farida is in her second year on council, and she serves as chair of the Interns Committee. She brings valuable focus and insight to this role and to the work of the committee. Unfortunately, Farida was not able to be with us, so welcome her. I'm going to ask each council member, when I mention their name, just to stand up and give a quick wave so you can be recognized. Bill Birdsall. Bill is a veteran to past councils as well as a past president of the OAA. He is participating this year on the Communications Committee, as well as being recently appointed as an interlocking director to the Pro-Demnity Board of Directors. I'm pleased to introduce, we're going to have a big applause at the end. I am pleased to introduce Council's intern architect representative for 2022, that's Pearl Chan. Pearl has been very busy with the Interns Committee this year, as well as the Comprehensive Education Committee. Pearl is an active member at the council table, sharing her thoughts and ideas from the intern architect's perspective. Kimberly Fawcett-Smith is the newest of our 4 Lieutenant Governor and Council appointees. Kimberly is serving as a member of the Complaints Committee as well as our Audit Committee, and in her role, she ensures that the important public perspective is represented. Next, we have Paul Hastings. Paul continues his term on council this year as Vice President Regulatory for a second year in a row. In his capacity as Vice President, Paul serves as the chair of a number of our statutory committees, including the Discipline Committee, the Experience Requirements Committee, and the Registration Committee. Our Vice President Strategic, Christina Carney, is serving her first term on council. This year, Christina is currently chair of the Policy Advocacy Coordination Team, as well as the Sustainable Built Environments Committee and the VP Strategic. Christina also serves as representative to the OAA, for the OAA with the Construction and Design Alliance Ontario. Jennifer King is our licensed technologist OAA member, serving on council, and she continues to bring her unique perspective to this role. Jennifer was re-elected to serve as Vice President Communications this year, and will also take on the role of our newly established OAA Technology Program Integration Committee. Next, we have Natasha Cricken. Natasha is serving her 3rd year on council and continues as Vice President Education for a 2nd year. Natasha is responsible for chairing the Comprehensive Education Committee, as well as serving as an OAA trustee. Next, we have Michelle Longlade, and we're excited to have Michelle continue as a Lieutenant Governor and Council appointee. Michelle's past experience with another regulatory organization has certainly been an asset to Council. Michelle serves as a member of the Discipline Committee as well as the OAA Governance Committee. Councillor Laura McKendrick, there she is in her 2nd year on Council and is a member of a number of committees, including the Budget Committee, Complaints, and the Building Committees. Laura has also recently been appointed as an interlocking director to the Prodemnity Insurance Company Board of Directors. I am pleased to introduce long-serving LGIC appointee Elaine Mintz. There she is. Elaine's great passion is reflected in her work with the Communications Committee, and she is also serving on the Discipline and Governance Committee. Vice President Practice, Dio Paquette. Dio serves as chair of the Practice Resource Committee, Subcommittee on Building Codes and Regulations, and as Vice President Practice, Dio also sits as a member of the Policy Advocacy Coordination Team. Clayton Payer is new to Council this year and currently serves on the Complaints Committee and as an OAA trustee. Being from Eastern Ontario, Clayton welcomed the role of Councillor Liaison to the Ottawa Regional Society of Architects. Greg Redden is also new to Council this year. Greg? And he currently serves on the Complaints Committee, Experience Requirements Committee, and the Sustainable Built Environment Committee. In his 1st year, Greg has naturally taken on the responsibility as Councillor Liaison to the Niagara Society of Architects. Christiana Schumann in her 2nd year on Council. Christiana, and she continues to serve on the Policy Advocacy Coordination Team. Christiana is also the Councillor Liaison to the very active Toronto Society of Architects. I'm pleased to introduce Lieutenant Governor and Council appointee Gaganjot Singh. Gagan continues this year as a member of the Discipline Committee and as our regulatorily mandated Complaints Review Councillor. Andy Thompson, where's Andy? In his 3rd year on Council, is a member of the Sustainable Built Environment Committee, as well as a member of the Building Committee and the Subcommittee on Building Codes and Regulations, where he brings his deep wealth of knowledge in the area of sustainability, zero carbon, and net zero energy. Next, I would like to introduce Ted Wilson. Ted? Maybe not here yet. Ted is new to our Council this year from Northern Ontario. Ted serves as a member of the Discipline Committee as well as the Budget Committee. Ted is also a member of our Governance Committee. Next, we have Setimo Velarde. Set is the OAA's Senior Vice President and Treasurer for 2022, and within that portfolio, Set chairs the Audit and the Budget Committee. He is also chair of the Governance Committee this year and an interlocking director to Prodemnity Board of Directors. And finally, I am pleased to reintroduce OAA President Susan Spiegel. Susan is serving her 2nd year as president and has been unwavering in her dedication to this position as president and her support of the OAA Council as well as staff. It has most certainly been challenging times for all, and Susan has navigated her role with professionalism and passion. So it is important to recognize the efforts of these individuals and the hard work that they perform as members of Council. There are so many committees and working groups that carry out the work of the OAA, and each of these people work very hard to support the membership in their role on Council. I want to thank Council for their efforts and ask everybody to give them a round of applause. And a couple of just quick housekeeping things before I hand the floor back over to Susan. I would like to remind everybody that the formal procedures for this meeting were circulated to the membership. They were done so electronically in an email sent on April 14th, 2022. And we trust that everyone has had the chance and the opportunity to review these procedures in advance of the meeting. I will not be reviewing the full procedures at this point in time. I do, however, want to quickly review the procedures for voting this afternoon. Only architects and licensed technologist OAA members in good standing are permitted to vote during the annual general meeting. And members who were required to register for the AGM no later than Tuesday, May 10th at 12 noon in order to be eligible to vote. There are no proxy record votes recorded for this meeting. And for clarity, I just want to clarify, there is, it's not there, the QR code. If I can get the QR code back up on the, I think it might be the next slide. But for clarity, there is a QR code that you need to scan onto your handheld device. And when you do that, a message should appear, which allows you to link directly to the website where you will sign in and which allows you to vote. In order to sign in, your email address of record for the OAA is the access key that you'll be asked for if you're not already logged in, and the password is 2022 conference with an exclamation mark. And for those voting virtually at home and or in your office, if you have not already downloaded the voting website, there'll be a button, you'll see a button within the platform that says click here to vote, and once you click on that vote button, it should open a second tab to the browser, which allows you to then again enter the login information. You can keep this tab open and toggle back and forth between the tabs so that you don't, or you can open it each time during the voting. And for those joining virtually, last point is if you need to ask a question or you would like to ask a question, you can do so through the Ask a Question function. I think that is it for our housekeeping. Oh, absolutely right, Susan, sorry. Anybody who is not been able to download through the QR code, we do have some yellow voting cards for you, for those of you that are here in the audience tonight. So if you need one, just quickly raise your hand and we'll run you over a voting card, and Susan will ask for a show of voting cards during the vote if that's the way you choose to vote. So without further ado, it is once again my pleasure to welcome OAA President Susan Spiegel back to the podium.